Listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnes.
And today we are doing something special because we have hit 500 subscribers.
502. Get it right.
Don't you get technical with me.
Possibly 3 right now. You don't know.
It could be. Might be 501.
Yeah.
Why do you leave us? So today we're going to finally move on to the Heisei era. And before we do that, I gotta say that Godzilla is a property of Toho Co. Ltd. We do not own Godzilla or anything affiliated with him. That being said, we have footage in this video.
But we own toys from 85.
Yeah, and I could probably try to react to scene. I know a couple people were like, why don't you do stop motion? I was like, I don't got time for that. I really don't.
No.
At least not right now. So, decided to just toss in some footage of some of the scenes we're going to be talking about. And because we're doing this, we're not going to do what we normally do and full-blown spoil the movie and just talk about everything about it.
So maybe like a little bit spoilers here and there that might slip up, but usually should be spoiler-free, right?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff will be early.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to ruin it nor get copyright strikes. So if you guys haven't seen Godzilla 1985, I call it Godzilla 1985 because that's how I grew up with it.
God, stupid. It's 1984.
It's actually Return of Godzilla.
Yeah, I was going to get to that part. Return of Godzilla.
Came out in 1984. But growing up, I didn't even know until I think I was like 10 that the movie did not come out in 1985.
Stupid.
Like, I got the VHS. Hold on. Alright, so if you guys don't know, VHS is old-fangled technology where you had to put it in this thing called a VCR. And what it is a bunch of...
And the only way to make these work, I'll let this right now, is you open these little button right here.
No!
And then you grab a knife and you cut that.
Get out of here. You know how hard it is to find this movie? This thing has, like, one of the only things that has survived my childhood is this film. And you know what it says
Actually,
on the
that wasn't
front?
very hard. I just came to your house and I found it.
I don't know, crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it says 1985 on the cover, so we're going over the film 1985, because this is what I watched. Also, funny story is at G-Fest, I had a lady literally get upset with me because I kept calling the movie 1985.
You're stupid.
Yeah, she was like, you meant 1984? I'm like, no, I know what I said. Because I wanted a poster. She didn't have any of the original posters, because I literally... This is what I want hanging in my room. Because there's a poster that looks exactly like this without the gold bordering. That's what I want.
She does not want the 84 poster.
Didn't want the 84 one because she only had like the alternate versions and it wasn't my thing.
That is an interesting story about this movie. I did not know there was an 84 poster inside of the 85 movie.
Yep.
Can we get to the review already?
Fine. The movie is a continuation on the original film Godzilla back from 1954, which is why Raymond Burr ends up being in this version. If you watch the English, because the English version of 1954 had Raymond Burr playing a character called Steve Martin, who was a news reporter. But the Japanese version, he's not there.
Yeah.
So when they brought it stateside, they tossed in some clips to kind of tie it together in terms of that.
I do like how there's like other countries involved now. There's Russia, the United States. It's not just like Japan exclusive, you know?
Yeah, kind of like how the original they tried to convey, and they do toss in American actors like here and there. But this one, you kind of get it at more of a global sense, which is really cool. Then it's also actually a continuating story, which you don't really get too often in the Godzilla films.
But you know what I really enjoy? Was technology in this movie, dude. Like the whole, like, the satellite dishes, and then everything was just like, I was like, wow.
Everything looked kind of legit, for once. I'll give you that. I was like, man, those vehicles actually look like they're real. This is weird. Also, I just love how this movie's tone shifts from being a horror, like, more like the original one is more of like a horror movie.
Yeah, horror-based movie.
Yeah, and it's like very political. While the rest of them, like 1955, you could kind of argue that it has kind of the same feel to it. Like, at least I feel like it's more or less the same tone as the 54. But after that, it kind of gets to do campy monsters fighting other monster fest. And it gets even worse throughout the series. But now that we're at the Heisei series, they went back to trying to get Godzilla to actually being more of a horror icon, which I think is really cool, especially with the beginning of the film. It's actually very eerie and sort of scary.
So, like, they're trying to keep him as a bad guy?
Yep, he is definitely not a good guy in this film.
Yeah, he was. He just tripped over a building, fell on top of some people. I mean,
yeah, he was just...
He picked up that train to scratch his back. It was nothing. I mean, it was
just blowing up everybody.
It was just the accident.
Taking out well, he didn't really take out the boat.
No. But like when he was at the pier, he just sneezed and the fire breath just went across and killed everybody on there.
Yeah,
you know?
decided the Russians didn't need to be in the water anymore.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
Yeah. He's just following the birds, man.
We don't want to talk about that part. Trust me.
But yeah, for this movie, I just love the shift in tone. Because it's definitely something that's very original and fresh for this series. Especially because last time we had anything close to this would have been essentially 30 years prior.
Is this sad that I think I would enjoy this movie more if it was black and white, even if it was made in 85?
No, I still love the coloring, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, this is one of those movies, like, I wouldn't really mess with anything.
I think, like, I mean, I don't know. It's just, like, reminds me a lot of the 54, which that's what it's supposed to be, sort of, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, as I was watching it, I'm like, man, I would enjoy this in black and white. I would be completely fine with this. It's weird, I know, but...
Nope, Technicolor all the way. But one scene I will talk about, because again, I love the scene because it kind of harkens back to a horror aspect, is when the guy goes on the boat.
Oh, the little...
To find the survivors.
The little boat thingy?
Yep. So when he goes onto the freighter ship, he walks on, finds everybody dead, and it kind of reminds me a lot of John Carpenter's The Thing when he first walks in. Kind of like when they walk into the Norwegian base. And you just see, like, just the bodies just sitting there, and they're already, like, decrepit and everything. You're like, man, those guys had to have been there for a while, it looked like. And then he finds the one guy that's alive, looks perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I love how it's more of a scary element, especially with the mutated tick that attacks them. That thing scared the crap out of me when I first watched it when I was 5.
Speaking of that scene, what is up with that music that was playing in the background?
You mean the terrifying, scary music?
Yes.
Because it's terrifying. It's a horror movie.
I don't know if I can condone that music in this movie, man.
The music's kind of especially watching it on VHS. There's the beginning where it's like da da da. You're just like, I don't think it's supposed to sound like that.
Yeah. Because I watched it on my thing, and then of course it had the commercials from the '85. So I don't think it was like HD quality or anything like that, and the music just did not sound right. One of the positive things about this movie, though, is I repeat, I do love his atomic breath.
Yes, his atomic breath's pretty cool. Which will actually get into just Godzilla, which this is actually one of my favorite suits out of all of them. The actual suit or the actual animatronic? Animatronic.
Yeah, that's animatronic.
Yeah, because initially when I watched this a long time ago, and I was like, man, that's kind of reminds me of like the scenes like the originals where they have like the puppets.
Yeah.
Or like the maquettes, whatever they use. Reminded me of that, and I found out that it's actually an animatronic that they were using for the close-up shots. I actually really like the animatronic, because they get like a lot of facial features out of it. Like his lips actually moving and everything.
Like lips that move for like 10 minutes nonstop?
Reminds me a lot of the Alien. Like you just expect like drool just to be coming down off of him. Which I think is one of the reasons why I like it a lot, because I'm a big Alien fan.
I wish they would have fixed that one thing, though, as you can tell the difference between the suit and the animatron. The robot.
The robot?
Yeah, the robot. It was a robot in the sky. Because the robot had the fangs sticking out, and the suit didn't, and you can completely tell the difference. That was one of the parts that was...
Yeah, for the most part, but then again, for the close-up shots...
Yeah.
You can kind of understand there's going to be a lot more detail. And then for the farther away shots, you don't really... That's like the main things, you don't really get to see the fangs. But for the most part, it still like holds a lot of the same details. But like they use the normal like suit actor for more of the farther away shots. And it was one of those things, like it never really bothered me for the most part. Like granted, you can kind of see in some areas where you see like the neck doesn't seem quite as big.
Yeah.
On the animatronic as it does in the suits.
Uh,
But unless you're really hardcore paying attention to it, it doesn't really take you out of it.
I think we're just nitpicking it, you know, but still, it was just one of the things I noticed, you know.
Yeah, for someone like me, I get lost watching this movie, so it doesn't really take me out of it too much. But I can see some people, like, especially if you're hardcore critiquing the film, you'll definitely notice some issues.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. It was just one of the things that bugged me when I watched it.
Gotta review it, man.
Yeah.
Gotta chuckle on and tear my movie apart.
But it was cool when he shoots his atomic breath and goes to the buildings.
Oh, yeah. It's actually probably the best one we've seen so far.
It's just like a big giant hole in the building. Nothing else happens. You're like, huh. That's a pretty strong building there.
Well, it's like Godzilla 98 where there's like the giant hole where Zilla actually had to go through, and yet the building's still there.
There's like 2 twigs inside of the building, they're still holding it up.
Yeah, it's a miracle of engineering how this happens. Just the props of this movie in general are freaking fantastic.
Like, there was actual footage of real things, everything, real airplanes, everything. Like, I had no issue with it. Except, like, when they were driving whatever those things were, they were shooting the lasers.
The maser tanks?
Yeah, you can tell that was a prop.
Yeah, they still look really good, though. Especially compared to what we've gotten with them.
No, you can tell that was really good. You can definitely tell this is, like, the 80s, you know?
Yeah.
But wasn't the budget like $2 million for this movie? Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head. I know
I remember reading like the whole because like Rotten Tomatoes says like this movie's 13%. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be bad going into this.
This is gonna be like revenge bad.
Yeah. But no, it turned out a lot better than what they said, and it was like $2 million. I think the budget was for this movie. So.
Well, I think originally for this film, it was kind of heavily panned, but a lot of those reviews are gonna be like from the 80s.
Yeah.
When this movie came out, and then you get those people that are like, well, it's not quite as good as some of the other stuff, because during that time we had, like, Terminator. Those films, so you kind of understand.
Aliens, Terminators.
Yeah, so you can kind of see where you kind of have some, like, unfavorable comparisons.
Yeah, where like the budget for this was like $2 million, and like Terminator was like $40 million.
Yeah, like for what they had, they did a phenomenal job. And then one of my other favorite things in this film is the Super X. It's the first Super X we get in these films, which doesn't spoil a whole lot. It's a giant, bulky flying tank in this one.
I have an issue with that thing.
How so?
This is the Super X. It takes off. Flies like that.
Well, yeah, because it's super advanced. It doesn't need to rotate.
Yet again, the whole technology of this movie is one of the things that bugs me. Like,
amazing. That's the word you're looking for.
I just feel like there was a string on that thing that I did not see. Like,
which props?
Which props? Thank you. But like that's what I felt like, and I was just waiting to see the string. Like I was waiting for the Godzilla movie's hand, and accidentally hit the string, and the ship flew like 30 feet. You know?
Oh yeah, but that's how it would have been the show. Irrespective of that thing would like just exploded somewhere.
Yeah, I was waiting for that, but it didn't happen. So like I give him a props, but still like the ship itself, it wasn't like lively. Like it was just like a dead thing floating in the water. It was just like.
Yeah, but then you kind of say that for a lot of vehicles, though.
Not really.
They don't really do a whole lot. Like, even a helicopter, like other than the propeller spinning, it's just kind of sitting there.
Maybe if it had a propeller on it, I'd be like, okay, there's something moving on there for love of God.
Something needed to be shifting.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool that in this film that it was actually the military trying to stay up to Godzilla than they say another monster aliens. Like, they're actually like bringing new technology to try to deal with the kaiju.
Yeah, that's why I like this movie so much. Like, I was disappointed when there was no kaiju in it, or other monster. But then, like, I was like, humans are standing up for themselves. This is okay.
Yeah, you still technically get a monster fight in this. You get a confrontation with Godzilla with something else in this film. So even though he's a standalone monster in it, they still found a way to make the fights interesting.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
So, to really spoil it for you, we're going to keep this as a trend throughout the Heisei run. Because I'm hoping to put footage in all of them. No guarantee, but this is the big one we're going to do.
Yeah, we'll see how this works out. If we get a strike, we'll be like, yeah, sorry guys. Yeah. We'll just put up a picture or two.
Where's the fair use? So in the end, I personally love Godzilla 1985. One of my favorite Godzilla movies of all time. One of my favorite Godzilla suits of all time. And you guys just need to go watch it, especially if you're a big Kaiju fan.
Definitely. If you want to see this movie, do not go out there. Do not research it. Do not look at reviews of what other people say, even us. Just go straight into it, watch it. Trust me, worth it. The movie, by far, so far, second best movie I've seen. Second best. So worth it.
You're not allowed to hold them anymore. But what do you guys think of Godzilla 1985? Or I guess The Return of Godzilla? If you guys really want to.
1984.
Let us know in the comment section below. And also, thank you again for 500 subscribers. Yeah.
One hand.
500. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe, become a ranger today. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.